The narration is from a deep, gravelly, alien voice filled with weary reflection. The Obsidian Council called it a stabilization mission. I call it what it was, an invasion. My name is Grand Admiral Thrax Varon, and I was given the honor of bringing the 12,000-year might of the Xylos Imperium to a primitive, backwater world. They were a scattered, warring species, barely capable of reaching their own moon. Conquering them should have been a footnote in our glorious history. But how could a species that still burned fossil fuels make our invincible shields fail? How could primitives who fought each other over patches of dirt unite to defy an empire that spanned galaxies? We came to their world expecting them to beg for mercy. We never imagined they would be the ones to make us kneel. They thought Earth would beg for mercy. Instead, we made them kneel. Before we begin, if you wish to see more stories of humanity's finest hours, subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It tells the great algorithm that our tales are worthy of being told. Alright, let's begin the story. I remember yawning. Literally, yawning. That's how my part in the most embarrassing military disaster in the 12,000-year history of the Xylos Imperium began. With a bored, arrogant yawn. Target acquired, Grand Admiral. My navigator reported, his voice flat with the same tedium that had infected my entire command staff. Primitive class, 3 civilization. 3rd planet of this unremarkable yellow star. Our flagship, the Invictus, emerged from the silent tear of hyperspace, a blade of polished obsidian and glowing energy half the size of the target's moon. Behind us, the 7th Armada of the Imperium followed, a fleet that had pacified 100 worlds without ever suffering a scratch. And here we were, assigned to this forgotten quadrant where ambitious officers go to see their careers die of boredom. Bring up the visuals, I commanded, stretching in my command chair. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a swirling, blue-green marble. My science officer, Mira, snorted beside me. They still have liquid surface water? How quaint. Defense systems? I asked, already knowing the answer. Rudimentary satellites, a few orbital stations, and approximately 200 nuclear devices that might as well be children's toys against our shields, replied the weapons master, his claws clicking dismissively on his console. They call themselves humans, the communications specialist added. And their planet, Earth. Most of their global communication is handled through a primitive data network they call the Internet. It is laughably insecure. Have they detected us? Unlikely, Grand Admiral, Mira replied, not bothering to look up. Our cloaking technology is beyond their detection capabilities by at least 4 centuries. I leaned back, a smirk crossing my face. This was beneath us. Standard procedure then. Send in the scout ships. I want a full report on their military, their governments, and their resources within 1 rotation. This will be over before the Obsidian Council even remembers they sent us here. My comms officer chuckled. You might find this amusing, Admiral. I've been monitoring their entertainment broadcasts. They have a concept they call alien invasion movies, where they fantasize about resisting superior extraterrestrial forces. Put one on the main screen, I ordered, intrigued by this primitive fantasy. The display showed humans in bulky suits firing projectile weapons at obviously fake alien creatures that exploded in gouts of green slime. The bridge crew erupted in laughter. This one's called Independence Day, the comms officer continued, barely able to speak through his mirth. The humans defeat the aliens by uploading a computer virus to the alien mothership. The laughter became a roar. Yes, Mira howled, wiping tears of amusement from her eyes. Because an advanced civilization capable of interstellar travel would obviously use a compatible operating system with a species that still writes code on glowing rectangles. Enough entertainment, I said, still chuckling. Dispatch the scouts. I retired to my quarters, fully expecting to accept their unconditional surrender within a day. In retrospect, that moment of smug, unassailable confidence was the precise moment our downfall began. The scout ships returned 6 hours later, and my confidence began to unravel. Most primitive species detect, at most, 1 or 2 of our cloaked scouts. The humans had tracked all 12. Impossible, I said, reviewing the data. Their technology shouldn't be capable of this. They didn't detect the ships themselves, Admiral, Mira explained, her expression puzzled. They detected our gravitational footprint. They've been monitoring gravitational waves across their system. It's actually quite ingenious for their technological level. Have they gone to alert status? I asked, suddenly less comfortable. Yes and no, my intel officer reported. Their militaries are on high alert, but their leaders appear to be keeping it quiet from the general population to prevent panic. Reasonable, I nodded. At least they're not complete fools. I should have taken that as a warning. I ordered the demonstration. 20 of our destroyers uncloaked simultaneously over their largest cities, our flagship appearing like a dark god directly above their primary seat of government, a place called Washington, D.C. It was time for the speech, the one we had given 100 times before. People of Earth, I began, my voice booming across every one of their broadcast frequencies. I am Grand Admiral Thrax Varon of the Xylos Imperium. Your planet is now under our authority. Resistance is not advised. On my signal, our ships fired precision energy beams, carving the symbol of our Imperium into uninhabited areas near each city. A demonstration of power with minimal damage. Standard procedure. Surrender within one planetary rotation. I concluded. And you will be treated fairly. Resist, and we will be forced to demonstrate our power more convincingly. I ended the transmission, pleased with my delivery. That ought to have them quaking. An incoming transmission flashed. Their leader, a human female with dark hair and startlingly calm, gray eyes, appeared on the display. This is Chancellor Eva Rostova, she said, her voice even. We speak as temporary representatives of Earth. We request 24 hours to confer with other world leaders before responding to your demands. Granted, I said, smiling magnanimously. Let them bicker. Let them despair. The outcome was inevitable. 24 hours passed. No surrender came. They are stalling, I frowned. Time to increase the pressure. Target their primary military installations. Precision strikes only. Show them their defenses are meaningless. Our ships launched simultaneous attacks on 50 major military bases. The energy weapons sliced through their buildings like they were made of sand. The damage was extensive. Casualties? I asked my weapons master. Minimal, Admiral, Mira reported, cutting in. They evacuated most of the facilities before our attack. Evacuated? I leaned forward. How did they know which targets we would select? Unknown, sir, she admitted, her own confusion mirroring my own. Chancellor Rostova appeared on screen again. Her expression was still frustratingly calm. Your time has expired, I stated coldly. Your military installations lie in ruins. Surrender now. She met my gaze. Grand Admiral, we respectfully decline your offer. Earth will not surrender. I actually laughed. A deep, guttural sound of disbelief. You have seen our technology. You have no hope of victory. Perhaps, she replied, a strange light in her eyes. But we have a saying, Admiral. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall never surrender. The transmission cut. I slammed my fist on the armrest. They want to see real power? We will show them real power. Prepare for ground deployment. We launched 10,000 of our elite combat droids. They were virtually indestructible, equipped with energy shields and programmed with perfect tactical awareness gleaned from 1,000 conquests. Within 6 hours, half of them had been destroyed. How is this possible? I roared, watching the casualty reports flood in. Sir, Mira's voice was strained. They are not using advanced weapons. They are using creativity. Explain. They lured our droids into power stations and overloaded the electrical grids. They collapsed buildings on them. They used their oceans to short-circuit them. They even, sir, they reprogrammed some of our own droids to attack each other. Impossible. My weapons master shook his head. Our encryption is impenetrable. Apparently not, Mira countered. The humans have something they call hackers, decentralized civilians. They found vulnerabilities we didn't even know existed. For the first time in my long career, I felt a genuine stirring of concern. This wasn't following the script. Launch the second wave. I ordered, my voice low and dangerous. 100,000 droids this time. The second wave was repelled even more quickly. The humans were ready. They had coordinated a global response. From every continent, their tactics were uniform, creative, and brutally effective. Then the alarms blared. We are being targeted, my weapons master shouted. Multiple incoming projectiles. Impossible, I warned. Their missiles can't penetrate our shields. These aren't conventional missiles, Admiral, Mira reported, her eyes wide with something I had never seen in a Xylos before. Fear. They are using some kind of focused electromagnetic pulse technology, something we've never seen before. The first impacts rocked the ship. Shields holding at 92%. My officer reported, the confidence gone from his voice. The second wave hit. The flagship shuddered violently. Shields at 63%. All ships. I commanded, my voice strained. Evasive maneuvers. Retreat to higher orbit. We fled. The mighty 7th Armada of the Xylos Imperium fled from a pack of primitives. As we pulled back, I received the reports. 3 destroyers had lost shields entirely. 1 had crashed into their ocean. How? I whispered, watching the blue-green marble recede. How are they doing this? Then the comms officer put a human news broadcast on the main screen. A human reporter stood in front of a massive laboratory complex. Confirmation, the reporter said, her voice filled with a fierce pride, that the unified global research team has successfully adapted the experimental defense technology. Scientists from 27 nations, working around the clock, have created what they are calling a shield disruptor. More launches are planned within the hour. The broadcast cut to scenes from around their world. Humans working together, converting factories, repurposing civilian technology, uniting. They're not even hiding it, Mira realized. They're sending us a message. A new transmission request flashed. It was Chancellor Rostova. But she wasn't alone. Leaders from every major nation on her planet stood with her. A united front. Grand Admiral Veron, she began. You thought our divisions made us weak. In fact, they made us strong. You have one way of thinking. We have billions. You have 1 hour to withdraw from Earth's orbit. After that, we launch everything we have. Maybe you will win. Maybe you won't. But I promise you this, it will be the costliest victory in your empire's history. The transmission ended. Admiral, massive launch detected, my sensor officer shouted. Hundreds of the new weapons. I made my decision. All ships, prepare for emergency hyperjump. 3 cycles later, roughly 8 of their months, I stood before the Obsidian Council. 7 ancient beings, withered husks draped in ceremonial armor, their eyes burning with the cold fire that had built an empire. Explain, the Supreme Counselor hissed, his voice like stones grinding together. How a class, 3 civilization forced the retreat of our 7th Armada. I told them everything. Their adaptability, their unity, their shield disruptors. You made us look like fools, another counselor thundered. Our rivals, the Vakesh hegemony, are already testing our borders, emboldened by rumors of our failure. I braced myself for the sentence. Exile. Execution. Commander Veron. The Supreme Counselor said slowly. Your career should end here. He paused. However, you are now the foremost expert on these humans. And we cannot allow this insult to stand. You will return to Earth, not with a single armada, but with 3. My eyes widened. 3 armadas. Over 300 capital ships. Enough firepower to reduce a dozen planets to ash. You will show them the full might of our empire. The counselor continued, his eyes boring into mine. Failure is not an option. Succeed, and you are redeemed. Fail, and your execution will be the least of your concerns. 1 standard week later, our new fleet, a force so vast it blotted out the stars, dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Scanning for human defenses. Istems, my new sensor officer reported. Detection status? I asked, a grim satisfaction building in my chest. He frowned. Unusual readings, Grand Admiral. I'm detecting nothing. Nothing. No satellites. No space stations. No orbital defenses. According to our scans, Earth's orbit is completely clear. A cold dread began to creep up my spine. This was wrong. All wrong. As we moved closer, our scans of the surface revealed their cities were nearly empty. Dark. Silent. Where are they? My new second-in-command whispered. Then the transmission came. It was Chancellor Rostova, Grand Admiral Veron. She greeted me with a slight, knowing smile. Welcome back. I see you brought friends this time. Your bravado is misplaced, Chancellor, I replied coldly. Your defenses are gone. Surrender now. We've been expecting you, Admiral, she said calmly. In fact, we've been preparing for this moment ever since you left. Your preparations are inadequate, I snarled. Oh, I don't think so, she replied. We aren't going to fight you, Admiral. We're going to show you something. Please direct your attention to your long-range scanners, specifically the area behind your fleet. I nodded to my sensor officer. His face went pale. Grand Admiral, massive energy signatures, hundreds of them, just appeared out of nowhere. On screen, I barked. The display shifted. Where empty space had been moments before, now hung hundreds of vessels. Sleek, angular craft that shimmered with an energy that was disturbingly familiar. They couldn't have built a fleet in 8 months, I breathed. We didn't, Chancellor Rostova replied, her voice echoing on the bridge. We had help. New transmissions flooded our systems. From the Vakesh hegemony, from the Aluran Collective, from the Proxima Republic, and from the Signan Confederacy. The only power in the universe that could challenge our Imperium. A new face appeared on screen beside Rostova. The unmistakable scaled visage of High Arbiter Lyra of the Confederacy. Greetings, Grand Admiral. The Arbiter said, her mandibles clicking softly. The human species has applied for and been granted protectorate status under Confederacy law. They have also filed formal complaints of unprovoked aggression against the Xylos Imperium. The deck swayed beneath me. No trick, Admiral, Rostova continued. When you retreated, we salvaged your destroyer that crashed in our ocean. We found your technology, your communication systems, and your historical archives. We learned about your conquests, your subjugation of peaceful worlds. We shared this information with potential allies. It turns out, the Xylos Imperium isn't very popular. High Arbiter Lyra's eyes gleamed. The Confederacy has long suspected your atrocities, but lacked definitive proof. The humans provided that proof, along with something even more valuable. A detailed analysis of a critical vulnerability in your shield technology. Checkmate. You now face a combined fleet of 4 major powers, the Arbiter continued. Your 3 armadas are impressive, Admiral. But even you must recognize the mathematical impossibility of victory. You have 5 minutes to withdraw or face annihilation. The transmission cut. Pride and fear warred within me. The Obsidian Council would execute me for retreating again. But to stay meant certain death for my entire command. There was only one path. Prepare a secure transmission to the Obsidian Council, I ordered. Priority Alpha. I explained the situation. The Allied fleet. The Union's involvement. The impossible odds. The humans have outmaneuvered us, I concluded. Not with superior firepower, but with superior diplomacy. You recommend retreat? A council member hissed. No, Counselor. I replied, my voice steady for the first time in an hour. I recommend negotiation. There were gasps. Negotiate with primitives? With the Signan Confederacy, I corrected. This is no longer a simple conquest. It is a potential interstellar war we cannot win. We must adapt, just as the humans adapted to us. If we attack, we risk the Imperium itself. If we retreat, we show weakness. But if we negotiate, we lose one insignificant planet, but we maintain our standing. We survive to fight another day. There was a long, heavy silence. Finally, the Supreme Counselor spoke. You have authorization to negotiate a non-aggression pact. Nothing more. The Imperium does not surrender, but it can postpone conquest when strategically prudent. I returned to the bridge and faced the screen. The Xylos Imperium proposes a non-aggression pact, I announced formally. The negotiations were swift and humiliating. We would withdraw. We would provide technological compensation as reparations. We would share non-strategic star charts. As our fleet prepared to depart, Chancellor Rostova requested a final, private channel. Admiral Varon, she said, her expression unreadable. Today, humanity joined the galactic community. We have made powerful friends, but we have also inherited their enemies, including yours. Your point. My point is that circumstances change. Today we are adversaries. Tomorrow, who knows? Your empire has existed for 12,000 years through force. How much longer will that strategy work in a galaxy that is learning to unite against bullies? She ended the transmission, leaving me with her unsettling words. As our fleet jumped to hyperspace, I recorded my personal log. We came to Earth expecting them to beg for mercy. Instead, they made us kneel. Not through superior firepower, but through superior thinking. The Xylos Imperium has always valued strength. Perhaps It is time we learned to value wisdom. The humans have taught us a costly but valuable lesson. True power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the ability to adapt, to build alliances, to change. The question now is whether an empire as ancient as ours can learn new ways before it's too late. The humans will not remain confined to their world for long. And when they venture into the stars in force, the galaxy will never be the same again. I closed the log, and somewhere deep inside, beneath my wounded pride and lingering anger, I felt something I had never expected to feel for a primitive species: respect.